time at Cowboys Stadium in Arlington, Texas, where a sellout crowd of over 80,000 has arrived for the most anticipated season opener in years. It's the number 3 Oregon Ducks against the number 4 LSU Tigers. It's a high-stakes battle with a pot of gold at the end of the BCS rainbow. Welcome, everybody, and good evening. With Kirk Herbstreit, I'm Brent Musburger. When last we left you, Auburn beating Oregon for a national championship. The Tigers struggled mightily today before beating Utah State. But Herbie, guess who's back on the big stage?
That's
the
right.
Oregon Ducks.
Well, the Oregon Ducks and Chip Kelly. Another opportunity, really, for this program to try to gain some more national credibility. It starts with LaMichael James, of course, a Heisman Trophy frontrunner. Last year, he won the Doak Walker, led the nation in rushing. But I think Darren Thomas, much like the national championship, when the running game wasn't there, Darren Thomas's ability to not only run but throw will be a key tonight. We know that he has the athletic ability to pull it out if you dominate the line of scrimmage and try to worry about James and Barner, but his ability to throw, I think, was key in the national championship and keeping the Ducks in that game. And again, against another big SEC defensive line, Thomas will have to prove that he can throw the ball.
And Herbie, I'm sure that everybody's aware LSU is without quarterback Jordan Jefferson, was suspended indefinitely. But you're telling me now that Jarrett Lee brings a lot of experience into this game.
He really does. I mean, this is his 10th career start. His last start was back in 2008 when he was a redshirt freshman and when he didn't have a lot of success. But last year, in a backup role to Jordan Jefferson, he did do well with the Swamp stepping in and making a play late to secure that victory against Alabama. Yeah, Alabama, 5th in the nation. In that game, when the pressure is on, he delivers and converts a big 4th down and allowed his football team to go on to win the game. He's dropped 20 pounds. He's made a commitment, even as a backup, and now the door is open. It's his chance to show his teammates he's got what it takes to get it done.
Herbie, do you think either of these teams will be arrested for speeding here tonight?
I'm telling you, Brent, we're going to watch a lot of great games this year. This game tonight will have the most speed on both sides of the field of any game we call all year. There's speed everywhere with Oregon and LSU.
All right, it's Oregon, LSU, about to begin here at Cowboys Stadium in Arlington, Texas. So Tiger coach Les Miles down below with the 3rd member of our team. Let's go to Aaron Andrews. Aaron.
Brent, thanks so much. Forget about the players' nerves. What just happened to you when you ran out of the tunnel? Where were you going?
They were so hot on my trail. If I would have stayed in their path, I'd ended up underneath them, I promise you. They wanted out of the tunnel.
I think you got a little confused. Hey, let me ask you about your quarterback, Jarrett Lee, starting for the first time since '09. What was the last piece of advice you gave him before he ran out?
Just play the plays that we call, enjoy himself. He's earned the right. Enjoy the day.
You too.
See ya.
Brian, back up to you.
All right, Les won the flip. He deferred. Oregon will get the ball to start the game. There's Chip Kelly. The first wrinkle here today, LaMichael James is back deep with Kenyon Barner back to return this kickoff. Here's your Heisman Trophy candidate from Eugene. So we have a wonderful scene here tonight. The Duck is certainly ready. Let's settle back and enjoy the opening kickoff. Underway in Arlington. And Barner at the 5-yard line brings it out for the Ducks. And they will have it. There's a penalty flag comes flying from behind LSU.
You know, we talked a lot about Darren Thomas, but he's going to need help. And LaMichael James and Kenyon Barner both in the backfield, and both can come out and catch the football. You already saw LaMichael make a play. And 2-A on the outside. Jeff Mayo is no longer here for the Ducks, and 2-A has to be the leader on the outside.
They have to get to the 23-yard line for a first down. Thomas to try and throw for it. He is well short. Out of bounds. And Barner was the receiver. And there's another piece of yellow down on the field as Tyrann Matthieu was the defender. And he's a dandy in that LSU secondary.
The challenges of
Personal
playing
foul.
that first
Leg
game
whip on the offense.
against the
Number
quality
74.
opponent. Have what, 4
After
plays
this
and
is
3
the ball.
penalties?
Second down.
Had one on the opening
Yeah,
kickoff. And
yeah.
we had a couple more now.
Yeah.
For the stage fright here. Opening night jitters.
Everybody anxious to see this Oregon retooled offensive line. A lot of new faces, including a freshman at center in Grasu, against his strength of LSU, which is, of course, the depth and speed and talent of their defensive line.
So Very dangerous for Thomas. From his end zone. Hit on the release. Incomplete. Ducks are forced to punt.
This is the challenge against LSU. Kiki Mingo will come unblocked. Lack of communication. You have some new faces up front. The crowd is into this game. The defense is taking advantage of the emotion, and a miscommunication forces on a long third down Darren Thomas to throw that football before he was ready.
LSU can wind up with great field position. Matthieu, the return man, standing on the Oregon 45-yard line. And this is a short punt. Excellent field position coming up. Does take an Oregon hop. Fielded near midfield. Here comes Matthews. Matthews tries to get the sideline. He's out of bounds across the 40-yard line. Now it'll be Jarrett Lee. But Herbie, the one negative that I see about him is that in his career he's thrown as many interceptions as touchdowns.
Yeah, and he's made some changes. Most of those interceptions came in his freshman year, where he threw actually 7 pick sixes as a freshman. The year after LSU won the national championship, he's been in a backup role the last couple years. What I love is he committed to lose the weight in the offseason, knowing he more than likely would be a backup. All of a sudden, there's the issue with Jordan Jefferson, and he finds himself in this huddle as a starting quarterback.
End zone, 39 yards away. Here comes that running game, and the last time this young man, Ware, found this field, he gained over 100 yards against Texas A&M in the Cotton Bowl.
And Spencer Ware has great power, a lot of physical abilities, about 225 pounds. You're going to see him a lot tonight, number 11. Also, Odell Beckham, he's a true freshman. They think he could really help out with the loss of Russell Shepard. And, of course, Ruben Randall on the outside needs to get vertical tonight against the Ducks if they overcommit to running the football by LSU.
Veteran offensive line. And here comes Ware again to daylight across the 30 for a first down on their first series. Michael Clay with the tackle.
Well, this is what LSU feels they can do against the undersized Oregon front seven. They feel that that veteran line, Brett, that you talked about, can not only win the battle up front, but they can get to that second level and get into the face of the linebackers. And if you give Spencer Ware enough room, he can get downfield in a hurry. And just a couple plays in, Jarrett Lee looks very, very comfortable because of that big offensive line in this running game.
And so a pretty good defensive series here for Oregon against this offensive line. Focus on the man in the middle, Herbie. Lonergan is a great veteran, his 16th start here.
Yeah, very athletic, intelligent, like most centers are, has to make most of the calls. You know, just watching this early, LSU has a size advantage up front. They're going to keep committing to running the ball. Oregon starts to cheat those safeties up. LSU will definitely play action and try to get behind them. This is a big third down.
And across the 20 for the first down. Slips, comes back with his footing, incomplete. And it is fourth down. And of course, LSU is without their great kicker of many years, who is not here. He moved on, graduated, and they always rely on this kicking game. When you're at Les Miles, Jasper was just one of the best in SEC history. And so now they will come out. And this is Drew Alama. He has taken over. And that number 30, of course, is passed on to the kicker. This is a 44-yarder to give the Tigers the lead. Looks good. LSU settles for a field goal. So if you're an Oregon fan, you can say, hey, that could have been a touchdown. But they'll need a ton of number 21 to get back in this one tonight. We'll be right back. We welcome you back to Arlington, Texas. You knew the Duck was going to travel that 2,000-plus miles. He'd be here tonight for this one. So here we go. Allen to kick it off again. This is Barner again, this time from the 10-yard line. Excellent return, and the key thing is I don't see a penalty flag on this one. So here we go on first down at the mesh point. It's LaMichael, and he's down to about the 46. You're predicting that Oregon's going to get the offense going now.
Well, they finally have good field position, and it's the first successful first down play that they've had in their 3 series. They at least moved the ball forward, and when Oregon doesn't have success on 1st and 10, it's disaster for the offense.
Now on second down, wide open for a tough first down. against that SEC front. The chains will move now, and they're across the 40. James again, and nothing moving in the middle when you go up against the SEC. You know, Herbie, when you look around the NFL at the rosters, and Chip Kelly knows this as well as anybody, you are up against premier defensive linemen from LSU. Les Miles has put more in the NFL over the last 6 or 7 years than anybody in the SEC. I mean, those NFL rosters are sprinkled with defensive linemen from LSU.
Without a doubt. And the linebackers also so far have been freed up to be able to make plays against James.
There's that inside pitch to LaMichael. He's got some daylight. Busts across for a first down. Beautifully executed by Darren Thomas.
That is a great recognition and a great call from the sideline. They saw Kiki Mingo, number 49, upfield. See him to the right, and he's going to get upfield. And because he gets upfield so quickly, it sets up perfectly the shovel pass underneath the speed off the edge by LSU. Mingo took himself out of the play, and it allowed James to get upfield quickly for that first down.
Paulson lines up in the backfield on this big third down. They'll slide him out. Thomas to the middle, caught at the 15-yard line. A huge first down pass to Justin Hoffman. He's a junior from Eugene.
Well, I think it's a miscommunication that time by Hoffman coming right to the middle. Tuane also breaks it off to the middle. They almost collided, but Hoffman's able to secure the football for the first down.
Big 14-yard gain on that third down. Now it's 1st and 10 at the LSU 15.
It's the first time we've seen Oregon be Oregon, and LSU's defense now a little bit more back on their heels.
Play clock inside of 10 seconds. Under pressure, tries to get it outside, and nothing doing because Simon made a fine play right there. Simon was all over the receiver, Josh Huff.
We've talked so much about this LSU defensive line, but you know, they lost Patrick Peterson, and you think, wow, the secondary might be taking a step back with the guy who was picked in the top 10 of the NFL draft. This secondary, as a two deep, might be as good as anything, not only in the SEC, but anything you might see in the entire country.
Quick throw for that screen and incomplete. So Oregon can't hang on to the ball a little bit. That was Murphy on the outside that time, and you would think here comes Rob Beard, the very reliable field goal specialist, the junior from Fullerton, California. He kicked a 42-yarder last year at Tennessee when Oregon went in and won in Knoxville. 10 of 13 overall a year ago, 77%. This is a 29-yarder for the tie. From the right hash. Slipped it through. Inside of 4 minutes in the first quarter, Oregon and LSU are tied. We welcome you back to the Cowboys Classic with Kirk Herbstreit, Aaron Andrews. I'm Brent Musburger. LSU kicked the field goal first, and now the Ducks have tied him. So Oregon will kick off for the first time here tonight. And it is LSU which has to be a little bit concerned about the lack of offense here so far. Claiborne is back deep along with Brooks. That's Claiborne right there. Claiborne up to field it from the 8-yard line. He'll try to get the sideline and does for a good return out to about the 28. Nick Aliotti dialing up some pressure here, and he's got LSU in 3rd and long. It's an impressive start for a defense that had to replace a lot. Bad snap, free ball, Ware goes for it, and he's down. Ball still loose, still free. Did the Ducks finally get it? Yes, they did. Jarrett Lee wanted to call timeout, walked away from it, and the veteran Lonergan snapped it anyway, and the scrum was on, and the Ducks have come up with a huge turnover. Locumbo recovered the fumble for Oregon, and Jarrett Lee is explaining to Les what went wrong, and there's Lonergan over there with the coach.
And Jarrett Lee looked like not so much the timeout, but maybe making an adjustment to the protection. He sees the blitz, and he's pointing over there. And the center decides to snap the ball on his own. The ball's free. Oregon, the entire defense going after it, and they catch a break here and get great field position.
Great time to strike after a turnover. All of you know it. Fires a slant, and they get it to about the 13-yard line on first down, and that makes second and third so manageable for him. 2-A, the receiver.
They motioned James to the left. It cleared the linebackers out and came back to 2-A to the right.
Thomas keeps it in the air, incomplete. Didn't want to chance an interception. There was good coverage on the outside. 2-A was the receiver again, and Josh Huff was also working in that area. Now you come back to third down, but you've got only 3 yards here. One of the things we note tonight with Chip Kelly, he has gone to the pass much earlier than he did against Auburn in that national championship game last January. He stuck with the run throughout much of that game. Here he's keeping the ball in the air, incomplete on the slant. Huff, the intended target.
We kind of anticipated him having to do that against this LSU front. The challenge, Brent, is you're breaking in some new receivers and you're going up against a very physical LSU defensive secondary, and they are locking up those Oregon wide receivers, and they're not getting any separation at all. So it's easy to look at Thomas and say, why isn't he completing enough passes? He's 7 of 15, but the LSU defensive backs have locked up these Oregon receivers.
Herbie, you told me yesterday you thought this could be a low-scoring game, and here is Beard with a 31-yarder. Oregon goes up, but I'm just sort of curious when you said it to me. You know, we've got this high-powered offense certainly on Oregon's part. You thought maybe for a time that LSU might have to match points, but you said right away you thought, you know, we could be in for a low-scoring game here tonight.
Yeah, I really thought that because I have a lot of respect for LSU and John Chavis. And as good as Oregon is on offense, we know how good and how athletic LSU can be. And I'll tell you, Nick Aliotti, I don't know if enough people appreciate the job that he does for Oregon. When you think of Oregon nationally, just always about the offense and Chip Kelly. But Nick Aliotti's the guy that kept them in the national championship and slowed down Cam Newton and kept him within striking distance, and they lost a ton off of that defense from a year ago, most especially Casey Matthews and Spencer Pasinger and Kenny Rowe, and there's Nick Aliotti. He's retooled this defense, and early in the game they have really made a commitment to the line of scrimmage, and they're basically saying this: if you're going to beat us, Jarrett Lee is going to have to beat us by throwing the football, because we are going to stack the line of scrimmage and make Jarrett Lee show us he can throw the ball.
Beard's kickoff in the end zone, and it'll come out on the 20. First and 10. And this time Lee will come up throwing. Takes a deep drop to the 20. Fires deep. Back up. Can't hang on at the 40-yard line. It'll be second and 10. And Gilden has been all over the receivers here. Now, they've got to pick on that redshirt freshman at some point.
Absolutely. And there it is on first and 10, Brent. You and I talked about if there's a time to try it, it's on first and 10 off of play action to try to get those safeties up. This is a great call. Even though you don't hit it, you at least try to let the safeties know you have it in it. And there's the true freshman. Beckham almost comes up with it. Gilden does a good job. Gilden's made 2 good plays against Jarrett Lee.
Now, LSU has not aimed a ball down deep at Ruben Randall, number 2. He's their best veteran receiver. Remember, Russell Shepard has been suspended. So Randall, number 2, split out to the right, and Lee rolls in that direction, looking for him, tosses it out of bounds, and Randall was covered that time. As we've come to the end of the first quarter in a battle of field goals, Oregon leads LSU 6-3. Well, Herbie, former LSU offensive coordinator Gary Croton told the Baltimore paper this week, Coach Miles, good on defense, good special teams, and tries to win the game in the fourth quarter. He's now at Maryland. He says he could be more wide open with the offense over there.
Well, and let's not argue here. I mean, it's worked for LSU. That success, that plan has given him a lot of success. But I think the reason LSU fans get a little bit frustrated with Coach Miles and with LSU is because they win games, but sometimes it's excruciating to watch, and it gives you an ulcer when you're sitting at home and you're watching and they find a way to get it done. But give them credit. The formula that he has come up with defense and special teams and field position and just kind of being smart on offense, a lot of times they're good enough to beat most of the teams that they play. But I will say this in the second quarter, to beat Oregon tonight, and with their speed, they're going to have to do much more than just run the ball and be conservative and just try not to lose the game on offense.
Now Barner is back deep again for the Ducks, and this is a beautiful punt. Back to the 15, running backwards, loose, free ball, touchdown, LSU. Matthieu picks it up and runs in, and LSU strikes.
Somewhere Cliff Harris is saying, boy, I wish I didn't make a big mistake. I wish I could be there for my teammates. But that's Les Miles football. That's part of the offense, man.
Just what we talked about.
That's on the play sheet, right? I love it. Right on cue.
Alama misses the extra point. Can you believe it?
Let me tell you something. When you need a play, you turn to your playmaker, Matthieu, who last year as a freshman made it happen, and he gets off to a huge start here as a sophomore campaign.
A 3-point lead. We'll be right back. The LSU sideline is following that wonderful punt, Herbie.
Wow, amazing by Brad Quang. What a job there driving back Barner.
And he's back on the field. You could see the coach encouraging him when he came off after the turnover. Here comes Barner, and he brings out around the 25. Darren Thomas hands off, and Michael James looking for the all-time record, and he's got it. I believe he's got it. He needed a couple of yards.
And he got 2.5.
2.5, he got it. So give him the career record for the Oregon Ducks on that run. What an unbelievable career he has had so far. So your all-time leading rusher. Quick strike to the outside, and that's DeAnthony Thomas. Second time he's touched the ball. Boy, he shows a little dash. They better try to get the ball to him a little more often.
Well, I think Josh Huff and DeAnthony Thomas are going to have to make a difference in the pass game for Darren Thomas. His other receivers are struggling.
Quick strike out to the flanker. Gets a blocker, and that's Barner, who was out in that slot.
If you get your receivers who are really running backs, Kenyon Barner, and we talked about DeAnthony Thomas, Josh Huff, get them the ball quick in space, one-on-one. As good as LSU is, at least you have a fighting chance out there on the perimeter with the speed of those three.
Firing again on first down, and a diving reception at the 31, so they pick up a handful of yards, and that's Thomas's third catch of the night, the freshman from Crenshaw High School.
It's interesting, Brent, the big adjustment that they have made here in the second corner is DeAnthony Thomas is a running back, and he's lined up in a slot to the left. Kenyon Barner's a running back. He's a slot to the right.
Trying to use both of them. Good protection. Another first down to the 22, and that's that freshman. Folks, remember number 6. He was great in scrimmages this fall. The coaching staff knew what they had.
And that's a great in-game adjustment by Chip Kelly in this offense. The 2-A and the rest of the receivers are not matching up to the athletic ability of LSU. Put Barner and Thomas out there and try to get the passing game going. The reason that's important, Brent, is then you can get back to your bread and butter of Darren Thomas and LaMichael James running the football.
And Grassu is holding up in his first start as a center. He identifies the Mike linebacker. Quick strike to the outside. 2-A across the 20 and still going. And he is at the 15-yard line. That's a huge first down play.
And again, getting the ball out. This time it's 2-A. Huffman does a good job of picking up a block, sustaining his block. And what about the effort by the long, lanky 2-A? LSU defenders all over the place, and he's able to hold on to the football. Look at LSU's defense. Some fatigue, hands on hips. That's what Oregon wants. They want to wear them down. See Baker.
Darren Thomas on the move to the left. It's complete to the 15-yard line. So that doesn't gain too much for him. 2-A the receiver. Now here's your offensive line, and you can see those 2 first starts there. Now Grasu, he's held up so far very well.
He sure
but
has.
Goldpassion in this drive's had a couple of costly penalties.
This is 16th play of this drive for Oregon.
Second down, end zone too high, incomplete. Double coverage down there in that corner of the end zone. You can see the 2 defenders there with Anthony Thomas. They were looking for the freshman this time.
Well, he's got some energy. I love watching Anthony Thomas. True freshman, living out a dream, finally getting a chance to play college football. And look who he's going up against in his first game, LSU. And he's not stepping back 1 iota. He's ready to play ball tonight.
3rd down and 12. Thomas fires middle, and it is penalty flag. There's a penalty flag thrown, and if that's a penalty, that's going to be a first down.
Brent, I think he led with his crown of his helmet. The safety, Craig Loston, looked like he led with the crown of his helmet to try to disengage the receiver.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness.
That's a first down. They did not have the first down.
Distance to the goal, automatic first down.
Oh, that's a huge personal foul.
Watch him lower his helmet. This is something you just cannot do. You see it in the NFL and in college football. When you lower your headgear to lower the boom, they're going to call it every time.
So now, after the reception, keep that in mind. Then it's penalized across the 5-yard line. 2-A made a great grab.
Absolutely.
Under enormous pressure. And here we go for the Ducks, trying to grab the lead. First and goal from the 4-yard line. LaMichael James is next to Thomas.
Remember, Thomas likes to run the football here himself as well.
LaMichael James picks his way, but not much doing against the middle of that Tiger defense. Downs, Brockers back on the field. Downs next to him, and now it'll be 2nd down and goal. Tough going against
sledding
this
in there, boys.
Hello.
And I talked about Thomas when he can run the football. A lot of times he has most of his touchdowns. They get inside the 5-yard line. They pay so much attention to the backfield. And LaMichael James, sometimes it can open up seams.
LaMichael, touchdown. Oregon leads. When you talk about Heisman Trophy candidates, folks, do not forget LaMichael James.
The check to the left. They've got a bubble off to the left. And a good job that time by the line picking up the stunt. And there's a nice big void on that left side where they were able to make the check. York came around and made a good block. And LaMichael James basically just walks into the end zone.
So here is Rob Beard on for the extra point. Jackson Rice is the holder. And he adds it. So this is a drive, folks, that consumed 19 plays, went 79 yards, 7 minutes and 41 seconds, and LaMichael James takes it in for 6. Right now, Oregon is coming off its best drive of the night. James with his 36th rushing touchdown in 26 career games. Now, LSU's turn. See what they can do. Claiborne and Brooks back deep. This is Claiborne in the end zone. He's going to bring this one out. 15, 20. The gamble paid off and let us go down below to Aaron Andrews. Aaron?
Well, Brent, when LSU's defense returned to the bench, D-line coach Rick Haley gave them a piece of their mind, telling them that was a cheap play right there. That was a cheap score by LaMichael James. That's what happens when you you play undisciplined. Brent, he unloaded on this D-line, and I have to tell you, he looks as exhausted as these defenders right here.
I think after that 19-play drive, that entire defense was not only physically fatigued, but also mentally fatigued.
Spencer Ware back in as the running back. Battles for a couple of tough yards here on first down, but the Tigers are going to have to get to an early passing situation.
They have 11 yards rushing. Oregon with his new defensive front and a lot of new linebackers, 11 yards rushing.
Pounding and running. That's how they break it for a first down. That's the best run of the night.
Sure is. Out
to the 45-yard line, and it picks up a first down with Spencer Ware.
Spencer Ware follows the big fullback that time, James Stampley, and offensive line gets a push.
Now it's LSU trying to pick the tempo up offensively. Close to midfield on that first down, and they're working behind the middle. That Lonergan, T-Bob Hebert, and Will Blackwell in the middle of that offensive line. T-Bob Hebert, and of course, that's the son of Bobby Hebert. Many of you remember, a longtime quarterback in the National Football League. Randall has not been a target tonight. He is down to the near side. Michael Ford is the running back. They're going to stick right on the ground. And why not? Busting across the 40-yard line, and now that offensive line is starting to exert itself here, Herbie.
And they do a good job. Tight end that time, picks up a block. Outstanding vision by Michael Ford, finds that cutback, is able to get up inside that crease very quickly.
They're on first down. They throw the lob to the running back, and one of the receivers, let me check myself on that. That was Michael Ford as he had slipped out.
Ford trying to give Spencer Ware a little bit of a break here because of his speed. He has probably the most acceleration in that LSU backfield.
Lee steps away from trouble, going to be sacked. Back at the 44-yard line, Jarrett Lee is taken down by Cadeau, Josh Cadeau.
And that's where the lack of experience comes in to really hurt Jarrett Lee. See, he's got to be able to just throw that football away and avoid the loss, avoid taking the big sack and killing the momentum of this drive. And once again, it puts this LSU offense into a 3rd and long situation. It allows Nick Aliotti either to get creative and bring pressure or rush 3 and drop 8. They're 1 of 6 tonight on 3rd down.
Down to 3 seconds. Got it off, fires middle, and grabbed at the 22-yard line. Fine catch by D'Angelo Peterson, his first of the night, and what a grab.
And he finds a one-on-one matchup that he can win, and he gave Peterson just enough time. Peterson does a good job of securing the football. You know, he's 6'4", about 235 pounds as a tight end, former wide receiver, and he's one-on-one against Eddie Pleasant at about 5'11", and that time Lee has enough time to find the matchup that he wanted to exploit.
Meanwhile, LSU with a golden opportunity here, but only a minute and a half left in the first half. Ware to the 10 and across, and it will be 2nd down. Les wants to keep the clock moving.
Time obviously not really a big factor here yet with the 3 timeouts, even though we're closing in on a minute.
LSU's got 3 timeouts left. There's no need taking them on into the to the locker room. Fumble. Battle for the loose ball. That was an exchange problem, I believe, as Jarrett was pulling away from Lonergan. Did it hit him?
I think it hit one of his linemen who were trying to pull around. I think maybe Hebert bumped the football as he was coming around to be able to help out with a block off to the right. That ball seemed to sit there forever until Ware finally jumped on it. See if the Ducks try to dial up some pressure here. They've gotten close to Lee on the last 2 3rd downs.
Ware looks like he wants to jitterbug off to the left and see if he can get something on an edge. Let's see what they do here from the gun. Gonna throw for it. Got one-on-one. Touchdown, Randall. First catch of the night and it's for the go-ahead touchdown. They finally found the redshirt freshman corner.
Yes, they did, and we just said, are they going to dial up some pressure? And they did. And when you do, you're one-on-one. LSU thought when they got into the red zone that Randall, with his size at 6'4", could go after Mitchell at about 5'11". They hit the tight end earlier, Peterson, on this drive, and this time for the touchdown, they find Ruben Randall, the junior.
Remember, they did not convert their last extra point. Alleman's good on this one. Aaron Thomas bringing the troops off the field, and let's go down below to Aaron Andrews.
We'll start with that 19-play scoring drive. What finally went right?
And we stopped shooting ourselves in the foot. You know, we've got penalties on our side of the ball and turned the ball over a couple times, and we got too many drops. But, you know, we're starting to get into a rhythm, so we'll see.
What's the biggest thing you stress here with the Tigers up by 3?
It's a great game, and it's only a 3-point game, so we got to come out, and we just got to try to stop shooting ourselves in the foot. Got to stay away from the penalties, got to stay away from the drops, got to stay away from the turnovers.
Thanks for your time.
Okay.
All right, Brian.
It is indeed a good game. Lead changed hands 4 times in this game, and we had 3 touchdowns overall, Kirk.
LSU has that 3-point lead, but it's a great second half about to start.
Exactly, and Oregon, of course, has to control the mistakes, the penalties, drop passes, missed blocks, false starts, things like that. They've got to pick that up against this team.
And remember last year, we called a bunch of Oregon games. They were stronger always in the second half because of their in-game adjustments by Chip Kelly on really both sides of the ball. And they have not had a play over 14 yards. And this is an offense known for big playability, but LSU has been able to contain them. And the other thing is, LSU's last drive, about 75 yards, 8 running plays. They found something that they liked. I want to see if they're able to go back to that and have some success, because they haven't been able to run the ball outside of that drive.
And that redshirt freshman for Oregon in that secondary, replacing Cliff Harris, he better get ready.
He better get ready. They found him last drive, the touchdown by Randall. Also, we noticed that LaMichael James kind of limping off. We're going to take a close look at that to see. I think Mingo, when he chased him down in the second to last play of the first half, may have dinged LaMichael James. We'll see how much he's going to be able to be involved for the Ducks in the second half.
So LSU will handle the ball. Remember, they won the coin flip, and they deferred. And they will have a first down around the 20-yard line with Claiborne on the return as we check in with Aaron Andrews.
Guys, just to update you on LaMichael James, he actually didn't run out with the team out of the tunnel coming out from halftime. And I asked the Oregon athletic training staff what was going on with that leg. They say it's just cramps. He's been stretching out over here on the sidelines. You see him with the big smile on his face. They actually said a couple of these guys are cramping up. So drinking up the Gatorade down here, we'll see how they hold up in the second half.
So here we are. Jarrett Lee, the senior quarterback from Brenham, Texas, a couple hundred miles from Arlington, set to take the first snap, play fake, throw. There's the first down pass for another first down.
Great call.
Out to the 32-yard line. They open up, and there's Peterson's second grab of the game.
Great call on 1st and 10. You're, of course, after the last drive expecting, oh, they're going to run the football. They've been running all night. Little hot pass there, and they catch the linebackers out of position coming in to stop Ware. And Peterson showing some athletic ability there with a nice grab.
A short handoff to Hilliard, who lined up the freshman as the fullback, and Oregon jumped that play. They were ready for that. Didn't fool anybody, so it'll be second down. Turner read it perfectly, made the stop for Alioti. Low scoring opener between the teams ranked number 3 Oregon and number 4 LSU. 16-13. The lead has changed hands 4 times here in the first half. And now Jarrett Lee, the senior quarterback, will see what he can do with the Tigers of the SEC. On the toss play to Ware, and he is eaten up. Puts him in 3rd and long, and Gilden, who's played very well as a defensive back here tonight.
And Brent, this is a check with me at the line of scrimmage, and Jarrett Lee's got to see this. Eddie Pleasant walks up. That's a safety. You've got 8 men up in the line of scrimmage. He actually checks to this play, and then you got a corner coming down as well. You're dealing with 9, 10 men at the line of scrimmage. He's got to see that and check out of that and get to a quick game or something to throw the ball to the outside.
Beckham, the freshman, is split out to the left-hand side in this obvious passing situation for LSU. Lee is only 9 of 19 for 69 yards. 20th pass of the game, incomplete. Dropped as he came across midfield that time. Patterson was there on coverage for the Ducks.
Really good effort that time. Avery Patterson was trailing Boone. Ball underthrown just a bit. He needed to put a little bit more loft on that ball to try to get it into Boone. But good coverage that time by Avery Patterson and LSU. And we talked about maybe they found something at the end of the first half, but these first 2 drives, they're out of there, and Oregon gets the football back.
So now, cornerback deep. Kenyon awaits the punt. A beautiful punt. Wow, sends it back inside the 10. Shakes a tackle at the 5, but he's down as the second man gets to him. They have found a weapon with this punter. Played Australian rules football out of Melbourne, and he buries the Ducks. And DeAnthony Thomas checks into the game with Barner and James on that sideline. Herbie, they're going to go with the freshman here.
With the backs cramping with James and Barner. It's interesting. Let's see how he can do. He's been playing receiver. Now he's lined up in the backfield.
Gets his first carry from scrimmage and moved the pile pretty well out to the 11-yard line.
He's 165 pounds. A true freshman out of Los Angeles. Many people thought he would go to USC.
2nd and 5, and there's that inside handoff short of the first down. And Edwards makes the stop for the Tigers.
Let's go back to Les Miles' formula to victory. It's field position, it's defense, it's special teams. This is a big 3rd down for Oregon for field position.
Fumble, LSU football. Picked off by Eric Reed in the air. And Reed's at the 21. And LSU is in business.
And that is the risk that you take when you play a freshman and you're forced to play a freshman in a football game. Sam Montgomery on the backside actually got his hand on the football, and DeAnthony Thomas needs to keep his head up because if James and Barner can't go, Chip Kelly's got to get him back up. Watch 99 off to the left. He gets a hand in there on the football, and Reed shows some pretty good athletic ability, catches it in midair, and makes the return. But LSU, this is the way they work. They force you into deep territory. They get a short field for their offense, and they either get a field goal here or they come up with a touchdown. But this is how Les Miles operates.
Learning how important it is to work in the weight room. 1st down and 10, and the Tigers are in business. Here is Ware, slips a tackle, spins forward on 1st down, and they're across the 20 into that red zone area right now. As the youngster, he'll learn from this.
Absolutely. You know, Brent, Spencer Ware is a sophomore. I can remember him. Played high school football up in Cincinnati, Ohio at Cincinnati Princeton, and was a quarterback, and he's turned into a pretty powerful running back down in Baton Rouge.
Toss play through the middle. 1st and goal for LSU. Here's the young man who rushed for better than 100 yards in the Cotton Bowl in this building last January against Texas A&M. And they're coming right back with him.
LSU trying to get their own tempo going, and that offensive line sensing an opportunity here, starting to get a good push, and Will Blackwell, right guard in the previous play, pulling around and just ripping through the Oregon defensive line. It's a pivotal point in the game with the Tigers up by 3 here midway through the 3rd quarter.
Second and goal from that power I formation for Lee. Ware again testing the middle. That's 3 consecutive plays. Not a whole lot of imagination there, and the Ducks jumped it. And that makes it 3rd and goal. Herbie, I'm a little bit surprised that they didn't get outside, try to get to the edge, try to do something out there a little bit.
Especially on early downs, but they've had some success pushing. Now let's remember, Oregon's committing 10 guys inside that box. You're leaving Ruben Randall isolated at the bottom of the screen one-on-one against an Oregon corner.
Touchdown! They stay with the run, and Michael Ford, the sophomore, busts across. So LSU knew what they were doing. They figure they've got an advantage with that offensive line, and they kept pounding, and they came away with 6.
That is old school football.
That's Michigan.
That is Michigan. James Stampley, the fullback.
That's Bo Schembechler.
That is.
Where did he learn that?
Let's flip it to Leroy Horde and follow him in there.
Drew Alama on for the extra point. Tacks it on. And it's a 10-point LSU advantage. Biggest lead of the game, Irving.
Big third down and goal, and you're thinking maybe they try to go back to Ruben Randall outside. Look at the hole right away open up. Blackwell does a good job of getting a push to the outside, gets Taylor Hart outside, and Stampley, there's a guy you want to follow. Stampley's about 245 pounds, and the combination right now of Spencer Ware and Michael Ford, very different in what they offer to that backfield, but both showing some pretty good vision, and that time Ford cut it back and into the end zone. And now the Ducks are really reeling here, down 10.
DeAnthony Thomas and Mitchell are back deep. And this one was Thomas trying to get him some space, and he fumbles it again. LSU jumps on it.
There's a sophomore, Craig Lawston, who got in there and punched that ball. And you know, when you're in high school and you're as fast as DeAnthony Thomas, you can run by people all day. You get up to college football, and obviously you have to have the fundamentals of holding on to the football, because these LSU defenders,
LSU football.
Wow. They are told to attack the football. Second straight time the freshman puts the ball on the ground. Not having Barner back there and not having LaMichael James really starting to catch up to Oregon. Watch 6 come in from behind right there and knock the ball loose.
The defensive front for Oregon better get ready. LSU's got a 10-point lead, and this is a perfect setup to go working on the clock from the power eye and see if your offensive line can wear them down. Here they come. The first running play, and it'll be Ware into the heart of that defense. This is where Oregon misses the fellas who were up front last year. Casey Matthews, I'll never forget that turnover he forced in the national championship game, and they rallied. But there are other fellas who are gone from a year ago. Rowe, Bear, Paysinger. Those guys are really missed here tonight. You can say all you want about having a lot of guys who played games, were going to be okay, but it ain't the same. And now it is 2nd down and 7. On a play action, got a wide open. Peterson to the 7-yard line, and it is 1st down and goal. Beautiful call. Dialed up by LSU. They caught that front pressing.
That is a great call by Coach Studd on 1st and 10. Peterson's right here. Good job. He takes his time. He's patient. And how about the throw by Jarrett Lee? Right over the shoulder to Peterson. They get Pleasant out of position, and he almost took it into the end zone.
Herbie, that was the longest play of the game. 29 yards. 1st down and goal. Where again, nothing much doing here.
They have mixed up the play calling, and they've been able to, they're sticking to their guns with their, if you want to call it stubbornness or whatever you might want to call it, but they have been able to control things these last couple drives, and I think they've mixed in enough of the play action. I think it's making it a little unsettling for the Oregon defense. There's some hesitation right now on that side of the football.
Let's see what they do here. They go back into the gun. Ware is still the back. 3 receivers to the right. Throw back to the left, one-on-one, incomplete. Randall, and there's the flag. 1st and goal. They went back to him against the redshirt freshman, Terrence Mitchell, and it'll be 1st and goal.
That's the matchup that they want. And even though they had 3 receivers off to the right, and Jarrett Lee actually gave a little look off to the right.
Pass interference on a defense number 27. Foul is in the end zone. Ball be placed at the 2-yard line. Automatic first down.
But he knew all along, Brent, he wanted to come. Look at him, look off to the right, and then come right back to the left because of the size advantage and because of the poor redshirt freshman going up against an experienced SEC receiver in Randall. He didn't have any chance.
Toss play Ware. Got the lead block and the touchdown. There's your guy clearing the way again for you, Herbie.
Absolutely. And you talked about it a little earlier, Brent. Maybe go to the outside away from that Oregon defense where they're pinching down inside. And that time they did pop it outside. Stampley picked up a block. And guess who he took out? Terrence Mitchell, the redshirt freshman corner. And Spencer Ware squares those shoulders. He is a powerful runner. It's about 225 pounds.
Drew Elema tacks on another one.
Tight end outside, just trying to outflank them. They get a good block there. Good effort, actually, by the tight end, D'Angelo Peterson. He got a piece of 2 of the Oregon defenders. It's a beauty playing at Jerry's house, right?
Exactly. You watch that 60-yard big screen TV up there.
You can't miss it.
So it's 30-13 with 3 minutes to go, and the LSU defense, he's mocking the duck, I think. He's down there doing the push-ups, and the offense tonight just hasn't got it done. Last year led the nation. 47 points a game. Tonight 13. 530 yards a game. Tonight 177. Rushing for 286. And tonight against another SEC defense, they've been held to 56 yards. Herbie, LSU put 2 touchdowns on the board in 3:20, and both came after those costly turnovers.
And the true freshman, D'Anthony Thomas, is out there. James is back out, this time with Josh Huff. They take the true freshman off the field.
Hang the kickoff high for Huff. And he is stoned with it. Thomas is deflected. 3rd down and 10, and they were all over him with that defense again. Mingo, your man, was coming off the edge.
Kiki Mingo, and if you can't tell at home, this stadium is rocking right now, and you feel like you're in Baton Rouge, and you got a couple Oregon Ducks out there playing on one leg, including the left tackle right now, Weems. But a good job and a good effort timing that by Benny Logan to knock that football down. How'd you like to call this play on 3rd and 10?
Mercy. Here they come. 99 in on him and incomplete. Sam Montgomery, Big Sam, at 99 was closing in.
Yeah, they actually had James coming out of the backfield, and he was left untouched, but it was just the pressure. Forced the quarterback to throw off his back foot. Thomas didn't have anything on the ball, even though James was streaking down the right sideline on a wheel route.
2:46 left here in the 3rd quarter. LSU 30, Oregon 13. And backed up is Jackson Rice. Here's Matthieu. Over the other side of the 40. He's got midfield. Down to the 48-yard line. The crowd tonight, 87,711. 2.5 minutes. Ford on the right edge. Across the 25-yard line. Before Eddie Pleasant gets him out of bounds.
Watch Peterson again. They're just outflanking the Oregon defense, getting outside. I'll tell you, Peterson's had a football game tonight for LSU. He's made a lot of catches, and we always get excited about that. But his blocking has been exceptional to spring these backs loose when they've had room to run.
The freshman, Beckham, off to the left side of this formation. He's number 33. Coming back with Ford. who is tripped up, keeping the clock moving. They'll bring down the final seconds here in the third quarter. So LSU dominates the third quarter, forces a couple of turnovers on back-to-back plays, scores touchdowns off both of them, and now the Tigers are dominating the Ducks. This presentation of Saturday Night Football, presented by Southwest Airlines, will return after this message and a word from our ABC stations. We welcome you back to Arlington, Texas, as we begin the fourth quarter here in a game that LSU took control of in the third quarter, turning 2 fumbles into 2 quick touchdowns. And now they're threatening again, just across the 15 on a 2nd down and 7. And it'll be 3rd down, 3rd and 8. Ford is the tailback. And the freshman wide receivers to the left. Jarrett Lee's going to try to go to him for his first touchdown. Knocked away in the corner of the end zone. And another fine play by Anthony Gilden, who has really held up on that corner.
That's the 3rd time that, and he's cramping now too. That's the 3rd time that Gilden has stepped up when he's been out there on an island and has been able to make a play. And it seems like a lot of times he's matched up against a freshman, Beckham. There's no face guarding in college football, so Beckham wanted that call, but Gilden was in position that time to not give Beckham much of a chance to make the catch.
Drew Elma will attempt the field goal. Made one from 44, this 32 from the right hash, and he's knocked it in. 33-13. LSU leading favored Oregon by 20. So now LSU in complete control here with 14:07 remaining. Oregon looking for a spurt, trying to get something to build on back here. And James went back to return this kickoff, and he brings it out to about the 33-yard line. 2nd and 15, in trouble, but he drops it off to LaMichael James, and James will do the rest. Got the first down for the Ducks.
That time, Weems did not get a quick head start, and they went right around him with Tyrann Matthieu. Now you get another offensive lineman, Carson York, who's an experienced player. Now he hobbles off for Oregon.
Thomas. Incomplete. It'll be 2nd down and 10.
He wanted LaMichael James on a wheel route, and that play's been open for the Ducks, even though they've not been able to hit it. But Eric Reed, the safety, just was eyeing LaMichael James the whole time, took that throw away, and Darren Thomas tried to come back to the right. Just nobody open. LSU, great job with their coverage there.
DeAnthony Thomas back on the field for the Ducks on this 2nd down. Drops in underneath. And 2 short of the first down. One of the things LSU is doing tonight and doing very well, they're tackling in space, which they knew they had to do against Oregon.
Yeah, gang tackle and tackling in space. I don't care who you are when you take on this offense. That's the first thing you hear from defensive coaches, and LSU has certainly done that.
3rd down and 4. Thomas going to scramble out and pick up the first down and get out of bounds on top of it. So overall, John Chavis has to be very pleased with what his defense has accomplished. Here's a man who was a defensive coordinator. He was the coordinator at Tennessee when they won the first ever BCS championship. They beat Florida State. Chavis, graduate of Tennessee, played there, longtime assistant coach over there with Phil Fulmer. And now he is Les Miles' defensive coordinator. He always stresses funnel things to the linebackers, funnel them through. His linebackers are always excellent tacklers. 1st down and 10. Thomas comes in underneath, and there's DeAnthony Thomas, dances free. And DeAnthony down by the 20-yard line. He's going to be thrilling to watch.
Well, all he has to do is, with his speed, is if he can shake one tackle. And you talked about getting into the weight room in the offseason, and he'll be able to do that starting next year. But if he can shake one tackle, he's got the kind of speed where he's going to leave most defensive backs. And he accelerated upfield very quickly that time.
Got plenty of time left here for these Ducks. They can keep this fire burning. LaMichael James is out there. Darren Thomas, DeAnthony Thomas. The offensive line's had a lot of holes that they're trying to fill here tonight. Rolling to the right. And close to a first down is Darren Thomas.
Kind of feeling some urgency. Obviously, when you get down by 20 points, I think a lot of people wondering where's this urgency been from Darren Thomas and the Ducks.
Anthony danced a little bit and then kept going and appeared to have picked up the first down.
Now, one thing you don't want to do against LSU is dance. I mean, you got to get upfield as best you can.
Carson York has come back in at right guard. They're substituting that right guard position. Everett Benyard has played in there. Remember, they had some costly penalties at that position. Grassu has really appeared to hold up at center here tonight, but it's a work in progress with the rest of that offensive line here tonight for Oregon. So the Ducks now with a 1st and goal, chance to score, fake the end around. Darren throws for it, got it, touchdown Oregon. Josh Huff is at the receiving end and a well-executed fake.
Yeah, and DeAnthony Thomas, I think, has done enough in this game to get some attention. You would think LaMichael James would get most of the attention, but here he comes in motion, and just a little bit of a play fake, enough misdirection, and then you roll out the other way, and it's a levels route. There's a guy short, a guy midway, and a guy downfield to the back of the end zone, and of course he finds his man for the touchdown that time in Huff.
So that was a spirited drive by the Ducks that time, and they pulled back to within 13. Still a lot of time left in Arlington. LSU leading Oregon by 13 with 9:14 to go here in the house that Jerry built in Arlington, Texas. 87,000 plus. Beard kicks it off for the Ducks. And taking it for the end zone is Claiborne. Claiborne's got a gap. There's a penalty flag. Penalty flag is thrown on the return. The LSU led it only about 17-13 when those two fumbles hit in the third quarter. And the game hasn't been the same since. Oregon did score to make it a 13-point game, but now they turn it over on downs. And Jared Lee and this veteran offensive line will go to work on this clock. Here's the toss to Ware. Ware behind the right guard, Will Blackwell. LSU is going to stay in the top 5, Herbie. They're going to start to climb. They're going to be dreaming of a home game in the BCS championship, but a lot of things ahead of them in that rugged SEC West. Don't forget, they've got to go to Tuscaloosa later in the year, but Les Miles has got himself a contender. No doubt about that. 2nd down and 9, and Ware again, 1st down against that tired defense down by the 25-yard line. And for Oregon, they're going to need to regroup now. Stanford has to take heart in what's happening here in the Pac-12 North. Everybody out there's got to feel a little bit better. I don't know what the Huskies are going to come up with this year up in Seattle. Sarkisian.
Yeah, and then Oregon fans are saying that let's not forget 2009 when they opened with a loss that year to Boise State on the road and regrouped a little bit and eventually ended up winning that championship and getting to the Rose Bowl. So we'll see what happens with the Ducks. There's some talent on this team. They don't have the depth that you see at LSU, but they definitely have the talent.
The chant has begun. LSU and then SEC for some of them.
That'll follow it.
And Ford, as we take a look at what LSU And, of course, when you look ahead to games against Arkansas, Auburn will come up. They'll be better than they showed today, that's for sure. Got to go to Mississippi State. Listen, West Virginia is going to be no gimme on September 24th.
Yeah, I mean, and you're on the road at Alabama. I mean, the SEC, it's every week. I mean, once you get into conference play, even games that you think will be easy are going to be tough. You go to Tennessee, that's a tough game. You know, you go to Ole Miss, that's a tough game. So, but it's a football team with a great defense. Special teams, again, appear to be solid. The offense is going to get better each week. It'll be a fun team to watch this year.
Second down. Here's Ford spinning, battling for the first down, which he gets. The end is near. LSU is going to apparently win here today. You know, one other point we want to make. Jordan Jefferson hasn't been found guilty of anything yet. So everybody just hold on to that resolution.
Right. We'll kind of stay tuned, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But let's go back. All the talk about Jarrett Lee, how would he do? You know, they're not going to be able to have the same offense without Jordan Jefferson. His numbers aren't going to blow you away. 10 of 22 for 98 yards. But I think he's been very efficient. He's made a lot of checks at the line of scrimmage, try to get his team in the right play. And it's first week of the season. There aren't a lot of quarterbacks out there playing perfectly. But he'll learn from this, and he'll continue to get better for this offense.
And Ford breaks free at the 5. Touchdown. Michael Ford, sophomore from Leesville, Louisiana, with a little frosting for the Tigers.
How about this? The way this game has gone, to look back, and you've got Spencer Ware at 99 yards and now Ford at 96 yards. Both backs close to the century mark. And this is kind of, again, give Les Miles and Coach Studd, the offensive coordinator, a lot of credit, sticking to their guns and kind of running their offensive game plan. And they got the breaks that they needed from the defense and special teams, and the offense eventually got going. But both backs close to 100 yards.
And suddenly, we've had 60 points scored. Unfortunately for Oregon, 40 of them by LSU. We'll see at Ann Arbor, Michigan's first night game next Saturday night. Remember, it's on ESPN rather than ABC. Irish hope to bounce back. Tough loss at the hands of South Florida. And Lou Holtz's son, Skip Holtz, today. Big win for Skip. And returning that is DeAnthony Thomas. Well, folks, so there are the stats tonight. 54 yards and a touchdown. So both Auburn and now LSU, they have shut him down at the line of scrimmage, haven't they, Herbie?
Yes.
Here he is catching a pass in the middle of the field. Good receiver down to the 40-yard line.
I think if there's anything for the Pac-12 teams to learn, now you don't have a lot of defensive linemen in the Pac-12 the way you do with LSU and Auburn last year.
Exactly.
But you're going to have to try to commit to the line of scrimmage in the running game and take your chances with Darren Thomas in the passing attack. And it's not as if the Pac-12 hasn't tried that in the past, and Thomas has made them pay for it. But that's what they're going to try to do this year. It's not a reflection of Thomas. It's more about the receivers. Jeff Mail's not lined up out there. So DeAnthony Thomas and Barner and Huff are going to have to really come on with their route running to help Thomas and James out in that backfield if Oregon's going to turn this thing around offensively and start to get it going. But they're not going to play another defense close to what they faced tonight.
They did not. The Ducks now we're talking about it. But let's watch Darren here on this second down. Is he going to pick it up? Yes, he is. This could be another first down. The clock will stop, and nifty little run. I just can't tell you how much I admire James, who just keeps on battling here with time running down and time running out. I want to go back to the defense. Only one turnover tonight, and it was just a blunder on the part of LSU. The quarterback was walking to call timeout, and the center snapped the ball past him, and the Ducks recovered that loose ball and kicked a field goal after that. Let's talk about Steve Cragthorpe. He was the offensive coordinator and then struck with Parkinson's disease, and so now he's the quarterback coach. Young man from Missoula, Montana, and he has worked with Jarrett Lee. And it's just great to see him back on the field. And Coach Studd moves in there on the left-hand side. He's a veteran offensive line coach, and they did a good job up there tonight.
Yeah, they did. And Steve has done so much, you're right, for Jarrett Lee and Jordan Jefferson. But Studd called plays when he was at Bowling Green after Urban Meyer left to go to Utah.
So it's a first down and goal inside the 5-yard line. There's David Paulson. So the Ducks trying to get another touchdown here in the final 22 seconds of the ball game. And it's the freshman's first touchdown. DeAnthony Thomas, number 6, and what a career he figures to have up in Eugene. Out of Crenshaw High School, there was a verbal commitment to USC, but in the end, when he went up to Eugene, he liked the community, he liked the coaches, he liked the teammates, and he committed to Oregon. And you can just see the future. When he gets stronger, he won't be fumbling the ball like that. They won't be knocking it out of his hands, because he'll just get stronger, and it'll become a much stronger grip on the football, as well as unfortunate things. But now he has his first touchdown, Herbie, and I know you're pleased for the young man.
Yeah, and not only that, the drive. The drive doesn't mean anything in this game, but you're down, the game's over, and it's easy to just shut it down and just say, you know what, it doesn't really matter. What's the big deal if we score or not? But when you're at the first game of the season, a head coach is looking for more than just execution. The head coach is looking at heart. Who's going to compete? Even though this game is over, who wants to continue to compete? And that time the offense competed down the field.
So the onside kick, and the one thing that Utah State will practice is go after an onside kick. Don't wait for it to come to you, and Randall did just that for LSU, and that'll do it. The Tigers prevail here. We got 12 seconds left as they bring the offense out for one final snap. They'll give us a victory formation. And the hat has done it again. That's that peak and that cap that Les Miles wears. That's why he got that nickname. When you take a look at his record, folks, one word to describe him: underrated. I know we make fun of some time management problems and things, chewing grass on the sideline, but Les Miles does a heck of a job of coaching. And he did again here, getting this team ready after that distraction. Chip Kelly over the shake hands. Les. And let's check in with Aaron Andrews and Coach Les Miles.
I don't have to tell you what you've been through, but you told us an exhausting couple of weeks with everything that went on off the field with your team. You play your backup as the starter tonight in a national championship setting. How do you put this into words?
Our football team's united. They play together. If you put a ball on the line, they'll scrap you for it. This is a great group of guys.
You told me before the game you wanted Jarrett Lee just to have fun, stay calm. When did you notice he was doing that?
Well, I think he did the things that we needed to do to win, and he made some plays that we really needed to have him. So it's all a progress, all a process that he'll have to go through, but he can play better than he did today.
And then the defense really did some things that you like. What was the key in finally getting through to Oregon's tempo?
Well, to me, we played with an intensity that started the first play and ended the last play. And I challenged them, as did our defensive staff. John Chavis did a great job. But we asked them to be ready. And ready was a big word. And, they ran a tempo offense, and it's a fast pace, and the reality is we were ready.
You certainly were. Coach, thanks so much. And Jarrett, you've been through so much these past couple weeks, and also in your career here at LSU. Put tonight in words.
Yeah, it was just, it was a great win for us. We just, we knew we had a lot on our, a lot on our minds coming into this game, but we knew we just had to stay focused. And we played hard tonight. We ran the ball well. We threw the ball well, and we just stayed focused. They're a great football team. Give credit to them, but we just played hard and got the W.
Appreciate it. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Congratulations to both schools for playing a game like this to start the season with so much on the line. LSU beats Oregon 40-27. Next Saturday on college football prime time, ESPN at 8 Eastern. We'll go to Ann Arbor. Michigan takes on Notre Dame. First night game ever in the big house. Won't that be something? Thanks for watching ESPN on ABC. Now we're going to take you to the studio for the Ford wrap-up, and here's Robert Flores. Take it away, Robert.